Welcome to another round of the Salty Takeaways here at SDH. Don't think there'll be any bitter ends after the 1-0 win over LAFC. Josef Martinez scores his first goal in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in 22 months. We'll get into the ratings from our friends at SofaScore. Nick Alifi is here alongside me. Just John, humbly submitting this show to you as we always do after Atlanta United games. And Nick, let's invert the order this week. And go with the questions and the thoughts from folks that came in on the timeline. And we'll start things off with Nathan Pugh, who says, I'm not terribly good at reading lips, but go away, man. As Chris Penso directed towards Atuesta after his yellow. That was my favorite. Atlanta's going to win the cup, and City, being the Liverpool fan, Nathan says, Atlanta's going to win the cup, and City are getting relegated. What a day.
Okay. All right, man.
So Nathan was all fired up after the win.
Wow. Well, good. Hey Nathan, man, good for you. We can all dream. We all have dreams and wants, but good for you. Good for you.
Brentford and Everton in the European spots, I believe, heading in after weekend number 1 in the Premier League. Yeah, go ahead. I know. Keep giggling. South George is in. He says it seems like George Bello's playing like a European-bound player. He says South Georgia says it seems like George Bello is playing like a European-bound player. Hope he goes, but hope he helps Atlanta United and Atlanta United fans get another cup first.
Yeah, George Bello is going to Europe. Matter of time. He's got the speed, the skill, the size to go. It's just it's going to be dependent upon how much the business is going to get done, though. And yeah, I certainly hope that he can. I think he's going to go through the whole season. I think Bello is probably going to end up moving probably in the January window. But yeah, his ability to affect both ends of the field. It's especially at his age in this league. I don't think we've seen that kind of combo before. We've seen young defenders who are really good at defending, and we've seen young attackers who are really good at attacking. But to find a player who can marry the two at his age is really what should make that transfer value spike. So yeah, completely agree. Bello's out of his mind right now.
Pulled a 7.8 courtesy of our friends at SofaScore, even with the yellow. His numbers on the day: played the full 90 minutes, a clearance, a blocked shot, 5 interceptions, 2 tackles, and let's see, 4 of 8 ground duels won. He won his only aerial. He won his only aerial duel. Was fouled once, had 3 fouls, 69 touches on the day, 33 of 39 passing for an 85%, 3 key passes, 1 shot on target, and a successful dribble. So a very busy day for George Bello. Also on the board in the Twitter timeline, let's see, Michael Head is in, and he says, can someone tell Brad he can wear a baseball cap to, shield the eyes?
I was wondering about that because the whole supporter section was just getting baked early on in the game, and it just I agree. I think it's a very Italian look, to have the baseball cap with the
straight out of Campagnolo on the brim.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I think that needs to happen. If Brad wants to have some conversations, we can go through some file footage and some archival photography of Serie A in the mid 90s, and we can find some looks that I think that he could certainly serve on again. But yeah, that's something that is going to be interesting going forward. I know that the whole benefit of the stadium is that it can open and close in like a camera eye, but I would start to suggest that late afternoon games we may not want to do that. Especially if our keeper is going to be the one, receiving the full UV blast. That's one thing that I would certainly suggest that maybe we stay away.
Turner Kirby's.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yes.
Just keep it close.
Yes, all right. Turner Kirby's in. Says a wise man once said, if in bad times you leave, in good times we don't need you. Also, wasn't there this Vela guy that was going to light us up? Don't worry, LAFC. I'm sure this quality loss will give you the Bama treatment with a couple spot lift in the power rankings.
Yeah, they seem to be the untouchables when it comes to the power rankings. The powers that be, in the old wrestling world, they just seem to keep LAFC afloat. I'm expecting them to pick up at least 2 or 3 slots.
You and me both, yeah.
If they're number 1, they're going to go to like 1 double plus, like double secret elevation. That's probably the only way they can go. Yeah, look, LAFC, a mighty fine team. Bob Bradley, very good coach. Vela is somebody who was supposed to come in and light the whole world on fire. He did it. There seems to have been a little bit of a drop off. The skill is still there, but he's prone to have outages just like any other player. I'm shocked that it happened today, but good for Atlanta United. What are you gonna do? But yeah, look, LAFC is gonna be. They're going to be lauded. They're going to be, they played exactly. Just things didn't go their way. And Bob Bradley, I'm sure, is going to complain about the turf and the humidity and the fact that Jupiter's in alignment with the 7th ring of Saturn or whatever to complain about the loss. Look, Atlanta won. They did what they needed to do, and they won. And Rob Valentino did what he had to do. Nothing wrong with that.
Also on the board, both Elabel and Shiva on the same kind of topic here. Elabel says, seems like they cleaned their defending on corners after the first one, yes. And Shiva says, today our defense gets a lot of credit for keeping a dangerous LAFC attack off the board. Set pieces was better after the first one.
Yeah, it's been sort of the Achilles heel, hasn't it? The
set pieces.
Yeah, and I don't know what was happening during the Gabriel Heinze period where it just seemed like we were just getting destroyed off of set pieces, and it's just it's details. Set pieces come down to details. What is your positioning? How are you setting up? How are you marking? Where from a positional standpoint, where do we want our guys set up so that way it's that initial ping pong action that happens, that secondary ball, the tertiary ball that starts rattling around. We can put a foot to it first, and it seems like earlier in the season we did not have that ability to find that secondary ball. We were just a foot and a half away from it. We were getting pulled out of our spacing. We started creating gaps that were too wide, and players from other teams had the ability just to put clean shots on goal, and or a ping pong action would take place, and we just couldn't get it out of the way. And finally today, outside of one, we were able to do that. So it looks like Rob Valentino's definitely been working on set pieces, trying to help clean those things up. Yes, we had the one that it was offside. Okay. What are you going to do?
Yes.
Thank goodness. But, it looks like it's been something that's been cleaned up, and it's going to be something that Gonzalo Pineda is going to have to clean up going forward. It seems to have been an issue with this team for a while. That's not something that you undo easily. It's something that you learn definitely when, any job that comes with repetition, that bad habits take twice as long to fix. So there's some bad habits on this team with set pieces. And so it looks like they're trending in the right direction, but there's still work to be done.
John Nason on the Vela discussion, he says, keeping Vela deep and wide, was that Atlanta United's strategy or him just not getting into the game? I think that was what Atlanta United forced him to do, and the effort of the Atlanta United defense kind of hamstrung both him and Diego Rossi with how they were forcing Vela out wide and not being able to create in the middle of the pitch.
As a defender, what you want to do early in a game is to take their strongest attacker and suffocate them. You don't want the ball to come to them. You want to make them very bored. You want to make them very grumpy early, because what's going to happen is that attacker is going to start complicating things for themselves and the team by trying to force something to happen. So then they may go wide, but then when they go wide, they're not exactly facing the teeth of your defense, and their attack is blunted. If you force them, if you show them that if they hang out on your back line, that they're not going to see any action, they're going to drop deep to try to receive a ball and create one-on-one situations that they feel like they can exploit. If you bracket them correctly, then you prevent that from happening and you completely remove the player from the game. And with star attackers, that if you can make that happen early and you can frustrate them early, then it sets them off for the rest of the game. Like, then they're completely reliant upon a thunderbolt moment to create that differentiator. And the later in the game you go, the harder it is to create those perfect moments where you can have like an insane volley, like a Zlatan moment, right? Where you can take that one little bit of oxygen and turn it into a fire. With Vela, the fact that Atlanta was able to draw him into those positions to blunt that attack, that's exactly what you wanted them to do. And then the player ends up helping you when they try to force things to happen, and they put themselves out of the best position. So, well, credit to Valentino, credit to the defenders for Atlanta United who helped make that happen, and credit to Carlos Vela for trying to overcomplicate things for LAFC and himself.
Vela's numbers on the day: SofaScore gave him a 7.5, played in all 90 minutes, only one shot on target, one shot was blocked, 2 for 2 in his dribbles, 56 touches, 26 of 30 in his accurate passing for an 87%, 4 key passes, only 1 of 6 in his crosses. He was 6 of 8 in his ground duels, 0 for 1 in his aerials, lost possession 16 times on the day, and was fouled 4 times. So that's your Carlos Vela numbers. Looking at some of the other numbers for Atlanta United, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore, Brad Gazan punches a 7.7, as does Ezequiel Barco. George Bello, once again, we mentioned him with a 7.8. A couple of other 7s on the board. Alan Franco and Miles Robinson, both at 7.1s. Santi Sosa at a 7.3. Joseph with a 7.1 as well. Marcelino Moreno at a 6.8, along with Anton Walks. Hernandez at a 6.7. Mateus Sosecchio at a 6.6. And so that was your rundown of the starters for Atlanta United. Looking at the numbers overall, Atlanta United at one point had 70% of the possession in the first half, ended up 59-41. 16-9 total shots for LAFC. Atlanta had 6 of their 9, however, on target. 10 shots off target, obviously, for LAFC. 3 shots blocked, 2 shots blocked for Atlanta United. Big chances, Atlanta United had 2. They had 1 that was missed. One time LAFC hit the woodwork, and that was when the Cifuentes came in early in the second half. 7 shots inside the box, 9 of them outside. 5 saves on the day for Romero, 3 for Brad Gazan. And a lot of passes in the second half for LAFC. At one point, they only had 132 passes attempted in the game, and this was at halftime, I believe. Let me check the numbers on that, Nick, real quick, because it was a number that was incredibly low. 136 passes for LAFC, period, in the first 45 minutes, and they were 5 of 23 on long balls. Atlanta United had 326 passes in the first half by themselves. Total numbers, 497 for Atlanta United, 83% connectivity success, 77% for LAFC, 261 of 337. LAFC 2 of 15 on crosses on the day, 13 of 18 on dribbles. Atlanta United won the duels, 52-41, 10 of 14 of them in the air. 16 interceptions for Atlanta United and 20 clearances. So those are the stats on the day. When it came to the starting 11 and everybody else, Nick, what else pops into your head from this 1-0 win?
Atlanta's ability to exploit space is that, whenever LAFC would press, and they could cause problems with their press. The issue with pressing always is, where are you going to allow the gaps to be? Because if you do like a counter press where you have that the back 4 or your back 3 on the on the half line, and then everybody's moving forward. You're allowing tremendous amounts of space in the back. Or if you try to play it a bit safer and have the back line a little further back, then you're allowing space in the midfield. And the problem with Atlanta is that if you allow Atlanta to have space in the midfield, and you allow Barco and you allow Moreno and you allow Rossetto and these guys to find space, they're going to rip you to shreds. And then when you have a cleaner in there like Sosa, who can remove the ball from you and then turn around and immediately start moving the ball forward, you're going to exploit space readily. And I don't know if it was in Bradley's plan to allow Atlanta to have space in the midfield, but it seemed to be the undoing. And I obviously that's something they corrected in the second half, but at the same time, I do wonder what LAFC's game plan was walking into this, because it seemed to me that Atlanta was like, okay, cool, no problem. You want us to have the ball? Great, that's fine. We're going to make you pay for it. And they did. And it looked like LAFC maybe thought that Atlanta was going to be sputtering, that the attack wasn't going to be, that wasn't going to be effective, and that they felt like rather that they could pressure the back line into creating mistakes and putting the ball into dangerous positions right there in front of the box and put the ball on the ground where Brad couldn't get it, and put one or two in the net early, and then be a little more pragmatic from there. It just didn't work for him, and Atlanta's attack woke up. And if you are an Atlanta United fan, and I assume that you are if you're listening to this show, this is a great thing that you have an interim manager who has one more game in his pocket. He has a team that's playing for him. He's going to be retained. You have another manager coming in. So you have the new manager bump at the same time, and you have a new DP waiting in the wings. It's reloading. it's reload, reload. And so this is, I'm not trying to aim any bullets at Gabriel Heinze when I say this. However, I will say that Rob Valentino has tapped into whatever this team needed to start believing in itself and playing with confidence and authority. And when you have another manager who's watching this, knowing that the guy that you're playing your heart out for is going to still be on the team, that allows a great amount of tranquility and transition. And that's what you want. You don't want a bunch of anxious minds that have already been put into a very anxious space because of the turnover at the top. Now what you have is a very clean and orderly transition. You have an attack that seems to be waking up. You have Barco, who's playing well. Moreno, not necessarily his greatest game ever, but he, over the past few games, has put together a very impressive portfolio for you to look at. I think he's going to come flying right back into it. And then you have Rossetto playing well. You have the DP waiting to come in. You have Franco, who's starting to pick things up and do well. You have Anton Walks, who's been playing out of his mind. You have Miles Robinson, who is a national team hero now. His confidence is through the roof. And thank you, Frank de Boer, for helping see that transition from kid with a lot of potential to national team hero. I'm sorry, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. And so, and not just that, but look at Torres, Kubo Torres, who was maligned to no end by a great many people on social media. What is this guy doing here? He's a bum. Get him out. He's terrible. There is no one else I would rather have in there with a 1-goal lead and with 80 minutes at the 80-minute mark than Kubo Torres, Grand Master. He is like the Pai Mei of dark arts. He knows the 5-point palm exploding heart technique foul drawing that it's going to, he can take the punishment, putting the ball into the corner, take the kicks, no problem. He's going to work his butt off. Effort, never the question. But now he's being utilized correctly. And that's the key thing. So salute to Kubo Torres. salute to Miles Robinson, Anton Walks, these guys who have been stepping up, especially with all these national team call-ups that we had, the injuries, everything else. And you have a lot of guys who stepped up. And so when Pineda comes in, he has an unbelievably difficult task that every manager wants, is that you have a lot of players who are highly motivated, who are capable of starting, and you have your role players. And this is where it gets really fun. When you have role players who know that they're role players and are 100% okay being role players, that's fantastic. And going into next season, when you have players who are going to be coming back from injury, like Emerson Hyndman, and you're going to have a lot of other people who are going to be in the mix, this is going to be a loaded team going forward. And when you have that kind of depth, the role players who are okay being role players, but are, I have no problems if you want to give me a starting position, but right now I'm a role player and that's okay. If you have that, you're going to be A-okay and you're going to be good to go. So and that's something Pineda is going to need if this team is going to push for playoffs, which apparently they have every intention of doing. So Atlanta's not dead. That's the takeaway for me in this game. Atlanta is not dead. If you thought they were dead before under Gabriel Heinze, you know, why did the team go from being very explosive looking to looking completely discombobulated, to a complete meltdown, to Rob Valentino coming in and apparently being Ted Lasso and knowing how to push the emotional buttons to get these guys to go where they need to go. They're doing it. And there's a belief in the locker room. Damn what everyone else thinks. There's a belief in the locker room. And if that makes us sunshine pumpers, and for everyone who did call us sunshine pumpers, I sincerely hope you don't have to say anything on Twitter. Don't say anything on Twitter. You don't have to DM anything. There were struggles, but struggles are not a permanent state. You can. There's a thing in tech called non-recoverable. Your computer's in a non-recoverable state. It's dead. It's a paperweight. The team is not in a non-recoverable state. There are injuries. They're playing. They're motivated now. They seem to be 100% pointed in the right direction, and they have a new manager who's coming in, who's coming from an organization that believes in stability and winning. And I have no problems with any of that. So the future, I'm not going to say it's championship or bust. I mean, hell, why not get in the mix? But I am saying that I think this team has a significant opportunity to make a very good run, not only at making the playoffs, but making a run in the playoffs. That is my takeaway from what I've seen over these past 4 games.
Unbeaten in their last 3, 4-9-6 at 21 points. They are 5 points out of the playoff picture. Columbus above them in the Eastern Conference at 24 points has lost 4 in a row. CF Montreal has lost 3 of their last 5. They are 7th right now at 26 points. Still has to be a little bit of hopscotching, but when you have a quick week like this and a successful week like this, you can get that hopscotching done fairly consistently. Let me finish with Gustavo. Hola, Gustavo.
Gustavo.
Atlanta United won because Valentino used logic. Barco and Marcelino stopped being wingers to be attacking mids. We increased activity in the attack, and we got to the box faster. Josef has more company. A wing back like Bello is far more effective than our current wingers. Araujo solves this issue.
Hey, what we have is a manager right now who is not an evangelist for a particular way of playing. And sometimes having a manager who's an evangelist allows you to be a part of something very special. Sometimes, and that's when it's going right. When it's going right, it allows you to create a culture, a unique culture that has a very established blueprint for success. When things don't go well, and the wheels start falling off and that train starts rattling off the track, that evangelist is not necessarily the best person who needs to be behind the wheel at the time, who needs to have the hand on the throttle. Valentino, I think, has been very pragmatic, very intelligent with using his subs. And I think he's taken the restrictor plates off of these boys and let them run and let them have fun and let them use their God-given skill to the best of their abilities within the confines of the system, obviously. But the system is far looser than what it was previously. So you don't have an evangelist at the wheel. You have somebody who's pragmatic, who has his finger on the pulse of the players, and is just letting them have a bit more freedom and creativity and allowing them to run. Bello he's an eraser. He's somebody who can erase a lot of problems for you. Problems on the wing, Bello's there. Problems in defense, Bello's there. Somebody's really fast, Bello's there. Atlanta has a few erasers. That one punch, I can solve this issue with this one thing I can do. So yeah, Valentino, credit to him. Credit to the boys for putting together a great game. No matter what happens in the next game, you have to look at what's happened the past 4 games and be very pleased with where they are. And if you're not, then good for you. I can't help you. But in my opinion, I'm very pleased with where they are from what I've seen over the past 4 games.
And Turner Kirby wraps it up by saying that I was told Seattle plays boring soccer, especially when they put 6 on Portland in Portland on Cascadia for your Sunday night.
No, they don't play boring. Look, they don't play boring ball. But if they have a 1-goal lead and another team is bringing the ruckus to them, they're going to say, okay, we're going to drop some people back, preserve this lead for as long as we can. Now, if it goes back to being, go deep, go early, go often, we could do it. But if we need to drop back and put some bodies behind the ball and win, I got some news for you. There were a lot of teams playing very pretty soccer in the 2000s that should have won a lot more UEFA Champions Leagues than they did. But AC Milan played very pragmatically. If you wanted to go gun for gun with them, they could do it. If they needed to drop people back and play defensively, they could do it. And they seem to have been doing pretty darn well for that period. I have no problem with a pragmatic approach to a game. I don't think it's boring, but there are people who do. And maybe because they tune into a game where they're in that more pragmatic state. But I don't think there's too many teams that would say, hey, look, give me some crazy evangelist where we don't win anything, but we look pretty, and replace and say, no, we would rather, no, don't give us the stars. Give us the give us the evangelist with the pretty style over the stars. I think everyone would take Seattle's stars over just about anything else. I mean, go talk to any of these teams. Go talk to Orlando. Go talk to New York Red Bulls. Go talk to NYCFC, Minnesota. Good Lord, John. Who else? FC Dallas, Miami, anybody else. And they say, oh, well, we want to play like Barcelona. Well, you know what? Have at it. We want to play like this team over. We want to play like this whole organization, the Red Bulls organization. Great. You can go find a Division III midfielder, start him up at striker, and have him run till his legs fall off. And this is coming from someone who's an evangelist for the Red Bulls counter-pressing system. If you say you want that over the stars that can come with an organization like Seattle's, you've lost your mind. And I appreciate the fact that you've lost your mind. You're a madman. I love you for it. I want championships. I want stars. I want the gold. Show me where the gold's at. That's what I want. I want gold stars. I don't want silver stars. Silver stars say you were. Gold stars say you are. Gold stars say you are a champion. Silver stars say you were a champion. No stars say you have work to do. And Seattle, zombie sounders, no, they're out. They're gone. We even said it on the show. Oh, Seattle's out. They're gone. Nope. Brian Schmetzer breaks out the Excel spreadsheet, starts doing some pivot tables, and before you know it, injuries, Injuries be damned. They're hoisting silverware. So if somebody doesn't want that, I get it. You don't want Seattle and their 18 minutes to get a coffee and we invented the game and the highlighter neon green stuff. Look, I get it. I understand that, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If Pineda could come in and can give us some semblance of order and stability, which are hallmarks of that organization, let's go. Kick your tires and light the fires, baby. I want gold. But I want to be, not I don't want to say I was. I want to say I am. I am a champion. Not I was a champion previously. No, I am a champion. Let's go ahead and start getting back to that.
And they get back to that in the midweek with Toronto FC coming to town, early juice boxes. Atlanta United is a -115 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. Toronto FC is a +290, and your draw is a +279. So that is your salty takeaways with the 1-0 win for Atlanta United over LAFC, who will probably go up at least 2 spots in the power rankings when those come out again this upcoming week for Major League Soccer. That is Nick. I am John. And since Nick is over there, he gets to send us home.
All right. News is kind of wild. This is a soccer show. It's not an international affairs show. But if you are a veteran of the Afghanistan conflict and you are struggling by what you're seeing, I want you to know that there are people out there who are ready to talk to you. There are people out there who are willing and able to. You don't have to. You can talk to somebody, right? But if you can, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to whoever. Doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, it's important for you to talk to somebody if you're struggling. All right. I know it. A lot of there's veteran crisis lines. You don't even have to tell anybody else you're struggling. You can call them up. They don't even know you. They don't even need to know your name and just say, "Hey, look, here's what's going on. Here's what's happening." But it can be sucky right now. You have support. We always call for backup. Veteran community. Remember when we were deployed? We always call for backup when we had trouble. The time is now. Call for backup if you need it. It can be tough out there. Until then, everybody, hey, the DMs are open. You can hit me up too. I don't need to know your name. Just hit me up. You can be Super Soccer Destroyer 9. I don't care. I'll address you as such. But until next time, know that I love you. We all love you. Mucha, mucha, plata, euros, all y'all.